Hey guys, Josh here, and today we're going to take the FansProject Stunticons and put them in their combined mode to form their Not Menasor, or also known as M3, which stands for Motor Squad Military Multiplexer, and I've also heard them referred to as Intimidator as well. But I'm probably throughout the video just going to refer to them as Menasor. So if you want to see a review on any of these individual guys, I have those up, and I will put those in links in the description so you can check them out. But this is basically just going to be taking this guy from these guys' cars, and this guy pretty much his robot, and everything's put together with his trailer except for a couple of pieces here that I wanted to kind of hold out so I can show you articulation on the hands. But it's going to go from this form, and we're going to put him all the way into his Menasor mode, just in case you're kind of struggling with one piece, because whenever you look at the directions, there's a couple of pieces where it doesn't tell you what exactly to rotate or what's actually rotating. They're not the best in my opinion. I've definitely seen better, but it does a decent job and you eventually get it. But with this video, hopefully you'll be able to figure it out on your own, and I'll be able to help you out, and we'll just kind of go from there. It also, maybe this gives you some insight on whether this is something that you would like to pick up, just because there's another Menasor out there. Now, the first thing that I wanted to do is take a look at these hands. Each one of these fingers are individually articulated. You can see that there's a ball joint here at the thumb. You also have a knuckle that goes back and forth right there. Same thing with the fingers. They're all on their individual ball joint. And rotate there, bend at the knuckle. They can make a complete fist. And whenever you want to place the sword in the hand, it actually has a slot there, like most of the Masterpiece figures, so that you'll be able to hold the sword, and it's not one of those things where you just kind of have to trust, the tightness of the joints. And over time, some of those things start to wear out, but with the little slot there, it's going to be a lot easier for you. But we'll go ahead and set this hands to the side. These are something that you will find in the trailer. I went ahead and took them out just so I could show you the articulation on them. The other thing is the sword holder, which we'll come back to that here in a bit. And I took these, actually I forgot to put them back in there whenever I was putting it back together, but not a big deal. You just, unplug them. They only hold in through this little peg right here, so not too big of a deal there. These will actually go on his shoulders. And now we can get into the figures themselves. I'm going to go ahead and move these to the side, and this as well. We're going to focus here on Motor Master. Now, if you, like I said, I've already done the review of this guy, so you can kind of get the articulation there. I've only transformed this twice, so hopefully I'll be able to get it here. But first thing that we're going to do is get these hands and rotate these up, just like so. Just kind of get a starting point there. Rotate those hands and pull down this way on these guys so that it collapses his hands. Now, normally, to put this guy into his truck mode, you're going to come around with this peg and it would fit right there. What you're going to do is spin this around, and it's actually going to peg into the bottom of where this one little screw went. And that's going to be the spot right there. Hold that into place, and that comes in and that collapses right there. And that'll be that arm done. Do the same thing with this. You're going to spin this section around here, come down there, hold that, come up with that, and make sure that all pops into place there. Alright, the next section that I'm going to do, I'm actually going to take these off. A lot of people were worried about the kibble with these guys. These actually look cool whenever he's in his Menasor mode, but you can take them off to leave some of the kibble off. And we're going to set those to the side. Now, with this section, with the waist, a couple of weird little things you're going to do here. You're going to break it apart right here, and you're going to rotate just this section because you don't want the belt to come around, because you can see that the belt could turn with it. You want to keep that in place, but only spin this top section right here. So you got to be really careful with it, just because there's that one joint holding all this together, so it's a little bit scary there. But get that into place and all lined up. Then there's a little joint and rotating bit up here. You're going to hold this and rotate here. So those are probably the two most delicate parts, and you want to be very careful about that. Coming around, I believe it's this way. This way here, you're going to pull out with the chest, push out, and you can just push your finger right through there, and you can lift up on Menasor's head here. There we go. And lift that back. Turn the Motormaster head around and flip that forward. Now that you have it pretty much looking like that, you're going to rotate these sections back, just like so. Do the same with this one here. And you're going to spin this around where you have the nice little paint detail facing forward. And you can see that there's a little hole there. You can see my finger coming through it. The same thing over there. And there's the little notches there. These are going to peg onto the back here if I can see it. There we go. There's that one. And get this one done too. There we go. And it's pretty much going to look just like so. And whenever you bring the little shield that he had, or his little roller, that's going to cover up that little gap section. And you can spin the, or expand the horns right there for him. Now with this section, you're going to, all this is going to collapse into here. It's actually kind of a tight fit. There you go. And you can see his little waist section. Get that done. Now with these legs, you're going to kind of open this up and come out with this. And this is very important to take note of. You're going to spin that section to where it comes all the way back, just like so. So you can see the difference to where what we did with that, to where this one's kind of going straight down. So you're gonna, bring this all the way back, just like so. And then you can come back around with this, come around with this foot section here. There's a peg and that hole that's going to get right in there. Do the same with this one. And sometimes these feet will pop out of the little ball joint. It's not a big deal because you can get them back in there. There we go. I just did that. And get that in that peg. There we go. And to finish up the leg section here, you'll see this little joint right here. This is actually, after you get all this back on here, this is actually going to slide up and then kind of accordion back. Just like that. And then you can collapse all this. There's little pegs right here. And you can get all that stuff lined up. Do the same thing with this one. Go ahead and accordion all that back. And get all those pegs lined up. There we go. I think that one's done. And there you have the legs done. These two sections right here, you can slide this part out here, slide that part out as well, and I believe it's, this section here. Go ahead and tab that in, and you can see that there's a little tab and a little notch there. Probably have to keep on inserting this in, but they will tab there on the side. Do the same thing with this one. Plug that in. And it'll kind of look just like that. So there is the main torso. Right, setting that to the side. We'll get into the trailer here. And just let me make sure this is done here so you can see a little bit better. We'll go ahead and take this off. You're just going to take this whole section and set it to the side. Take the trailer doors off. Go ahead and separate those. Collapse those, make them little shotguns, or little pistols, I guess, for Menasor is what they'll look like. And then we're going to separate here, take the little roller off, and you can go ahead and spin those out, and we'll add that to his chest here in a bit. Take that section, these side sections. These are pretty much identical at the moment. go ahead and put his sword together. Plug that on top. Grab his handle. Get that? Yeah. So there's his nice sword, which is, it's pretty nice. I like it. I'd rather have a chrome one, but that's something I discussed in the diesel review, and a lot of you guys had quite a few comments on that one, and you made a lot of great points that it'd be very hard to kind of chrome just one side of a sword. So, once I thought about it, I completely agree, but I was just kind of hoping it would be like that. Anyways, we'll set that to the side. We're going to take these two sections, go ahead and pop those out of the tabs, and there we go. Split those apart. Go ahead and pop those out of the tab and slide those out as well. These you're going to come out and down and bend these around just like so. This way it's going to look. Do the same thing with the other. Pop those out. There we go. That was done. And you'll have to just kind of move them back on this joint so they'll fit flush. There's that. Do that one as well. So those two guys are set up now. Now with these are kind of like cool. If you remember in the diesel review, we talked about how he could put all these things attached to Motormaster, to where they're like kind of cannons all over the place. Well, these all serve a purpose, just like you saw with this section. These are going to do the same as well. This is going to flip around, and you're going to take this section. So get it to go. Oh yeah, it goes this way, and get those tabs, get those in there. Bring this around. It's going to bring around these two sections, and just make sure that's tapped in place. Pull this section up, and you have a foot. Do the same with this one, except I'm not going to try to break this one. Do the same here. Make sure that's in. Plug that in place. This can come up. You spin around. And there you have these guys. And you can see that there's these little two little ports. The same thing with the guns right there. Those are just going to fit in just like so. So there's pretty much one leg. And then you have the same thing over here. And there's your other leg. So where both of those are, we can connect them together. But I'm going to save that to whenever I raise the camera up a little bit so you guys can see everything. Alright, now for Car Crash, what we're going to do with him is go ahead and just take off these little guns here and just kind of separate there. Make sure all that gets pushed back together. Then you can fit these guns back on here. And how do I have that? Cool thing about this guy is all the little guns for each, all four of the little guys, they're going to be able to clip into somewhere. If we want, we can go ahead and connect this guy. You see there's a little box there and those two little circles there. It's going to connect those little things that we were wondering why he had a hole in his crotch. That's pretty much why. And he just plugs into there, and there you have the leg. Now I know a few people were complaining, saying that all the car does is attach. I mean, he's pretty much Menasor. If you just had the arms and diesel, you really don't need the bottom ones. But you got to admit that that would look a little stupid looking. So it doesn't bother me, and this is the way that he kind of looked in the cartoon as well. So that's fine. Right, grabbing, I believe this guy's name was T-Bone. We're gonna do the same thing with his little guns here. Bring this aside, pull this up, and his guns in there. And we'll do the same thing with him. Those little slots there. Alright, and then we have our legs. So now we just have to get the arms done. First guy we'll grab will be his left arm. So we'll have that guy and one of these here. Go ahead and take out his gun. There's that piece. And that piece, you can go ahead and connect these. And we'll set it to the side for the moment. With him, you're not going to do, the most that you can do the transformations with is drag strip or whatever his downforce is his name. With last chance here, you're going to split this section apart. Go ahead and lift out like that. This is going to spin around. And I believe, yeah, I'm going to take the little hole right there for his wrist and kind of just reconnect everything. Alright, so now you've got his hand in there. You're going to take this piece right here that we had earlier, and you can see that there's kind of this notch right there. It's going to slide right into that section. Or I believe it might be vice versa. Yeah, I think it is. There we go. So I can get everything to stay in the place. So that section's going to stay just like that. Then you're going to take this part, and it's going to, there's like these little tabs here on the side. I don't know if you can see, and there's kind of the same pattern that it's going to fit there, but then you're also going to have this hole and these two little pegs here. They're going to fit up here. So it's kind of a little difficult to get in there. It's much harder taking off, but we're going to go ahead and plug that into place, and then we're going to lift up on this section, and hopefully we can get everything on there. There we go. There's that. Alright, there's that one done. Alright, so that hand is done right there. Set it off to the side. Oh, and one other thing that you can do for his gun, you can see it's got that little slot, and there is a little bitty peg right there. Supposed to put it right there, which sometimes it falls off, but you can see it's got a little bit of extra firepower. Right, next thing, this guy here, and he'll come with these two accessories. Go ahead, if we can't get his gun off, if I can get it out there. Alright, there's one piece, and take that one off and go ahead and connect it as well. Set it off to the side. This guy you're going to be doing the most with, like I said earlier. Going to go ahead and split. Sometimes it comes untransformed, but it's not that big of a deal. You're going to split here off to the side. Go ahead and pull up so you can get these back feet out, and then you're going to try to fish them out without making the feet ball joints pop off. Mine always do. There we go. Fix that in a bit. Yeah, I mean, there's got to be an easier way to get those feet out of there. Maybe one of you guys knows, because mine always does that. Anyways, you're going to take this section here. Once you've got the feet out, you can go ahead and close this back up and go ahead and, start putting all this back together the way that you had it. Do the same with this. All these ball joints are popping off. Sorry about that, guys. around here. And I've got a few comparisons to show you, quite a few G1. Unfortunately, only one third-party combiner, which is going to be, Make Toys Green Giant. I'll just leave that there. These sections with the legs, you're going to do those just like you do if he was going into robot mode. So you just go ahead and spin that this way here. Come around with this section. Go ahead and collapse that into place and get that peg down in there. Okay. And go ahead and shut that back up there. Do the same thing with this. Spin that wheel around. Bring this around. And kind of line up that peg and shove the rest of it down there. Bring that around as well. I'm going to take this hand and right in between, where was it? The wheels here. You're going to fit that in there. So let's make sure I got everything lined up correctly. Just like that. And I think everything is plugged together. No? Sorry about that. A little difficult to do on camera. It's much easier whenever try not to position it that way. Alright, now we're going to take this section here. Same thing goes, with the pegs, and you have those holes there. And then we'll just get everything lined up a little bit later. Right, and get this section lined up. And do the same with this one. Go and press those on there. With the gun, you're going to plug it on here. Alright, and now we have all the pieces that we need to form M3 or Menasor. So give me a second and I'll adjust the camera and we'll get into the combination mode. Alright, now that we've got everything set up to go in its combined form, let's go ahead and start putting everything together. Put a couple of these weapons and things to the side. I took the cars off just because it gives you a little bit more room whenever you want to put the legs on. So you're going to start off with this section. You see that there's a hole there, the peg there, but it's got like a little notch there, so you just got to make sure everything lines up there. Get that on, and then you can rotate. You're supposed to be able to rotate. Get that all pegged back in there. There we go. Spin that around. Do the same with this. And I don't know how much problems I'm going to have putting this thing together, just because I'm trying to go a little bit quick, just because I know it's already been quite a long video. But the joints and, as you can see, the guy's already kind of bending over here. This is definitely meant for, getting it the way that you want, put it on your shelf and just leaving it be and not really messing with it anymore. And as far as the price goes, I mean, most of you guys know this isn't kind of like a little play toy, but if you do play with your toys, the stance, like, it's standing fine right now, but once we start getting into like a little bit of the articulation, you'll notice that things will start to bend and untab and stuff like that. So it's a little bit of frustrating. Got the same thing over here, and if I can get this on, it's having trouble with it earlier. There we go. Alright, so there's that one. Hopefully this one gets on a little bit better. There we go. Just make sure all that's tabbed together. A little piece of his gun. There we go. And his shield section, right there on the back of Motormaster's head. That's going to be that slot there, and where's the other one? Oh, and there's a tab right above it, which is going to fit there. So you're going to take this section. Figure if I can see in there. Come on, man. I think I got that. Yeah. Alright, so before I get into a couple other things to add on him, here on the back, you got these little shotguns, or I guess in his Menasor mode, though, more like pistols. You got that little square there, or little triangle. And that'll fit on that side. Now you got the same over here. And if you wanted, you could take wherever it's at, this section here, and bend this around, and you could have his sword in his bag. But we're not going to do that. Before we get into articulation and start bending everything around, and I can't get them to stand properly, we're going to go ahead and get into some comparisons for you guys. So set him off to the side. Grab his Nemesis, but this is the G1 version. Superion, so you can see how much he stacks up there. Grab G1 Menasor himself. All these guys are wanting to lean forward today for some reason. So as you can see, these guys, Menasor was always a little bit shorter than him. So if you do have the TFC Toys version of Superion or Uranus, whatever they're calling that thing, I believe he's going to be a little bit taller than this guy. So it kind of matches out here. Plus jets are going to be naturally larger than cars anyway, so it makes sense, I guess you could say. We'll just throw that over there. And we'll throw him over there either. Nothing wants to stand today. So, next thing we'll grab FansProject's Predaking. So as you can see, Menasor is quite a bit larger. Now, Predaking should probably be bigger, considering that he's made up of space shuttles and tanks and helicopters and things like that. But honestly, Menasor is the most powerful. Well, I think he's the second most powerful combiner ever created. The first one being Leon Kaiser, or not Leon Kaiser, but Leo Kaiser from the Japanese series in Victory. But this guy is just absolutely crazy. I think that he could just destroy anyone. But it kind of gives you an idea there. Come on, are you gonna stand for me, dude? Come on. And one of my favorites. That honestly, this is probably still my favorite combiner, just because he's so solid. So whenever I look at this, the Predaking figure, it's made up of Takara pieces as well, and just only has a couple things that are actually FansProject. But this is a full-fledged, combiner made by a third-party company, and everything is just so solid, and nothing falls off whenever I'm rotating something. So I feel very comfortable doing it. Even though I do like this guy, he does get quite a bit fiddly, and things start popping off, and the joints, come untabbed and stuff like that. So it's a little difficult to mess with. And you'll kind of see that whenever I get into the articulation here at the end. One last comparison. Here he is with G1 Predaking. So it's original G1 Predaking there. Alright, and as far as his little sword, you can see the little tab there, or the hole or notch, and he can just tap that in his hand and wrap his fingers around it. And there he is with his sword. It's a little bit heavy for this, this joint, but you can kind of get the basic idea there. Not too bad looking. I'm probably going to pose it with his sword facing, down, or something like this. I don't know. You kind of get the idea. But we'll set that to the side. As far as his articulation, just make sure everything's still on camera here. You can see his head. It can rotate a little bit there, not too much, but again, why would he need to? Because he wouldn't be able to see past these big things anyway. So he can only fight people that are directly in front of him. Can't move, back and forth there. Does have a little bit of tilt, not really too much there. With the arm joint, he can move at this section that goes up and down here. Then there's also this joint that goes back and forth as well, so it's kind of like double shoulder joints, I guess you could say. Then there's also the rotation here. He has the bend at the waist of one of these guys, and I guess you could say kind of a little bit of a bend there with the thigh sections of these side robots. Bend there 90 degrees, and also the hands go back and forth. And I already showed you the articulation on the fingers. Same there. It does have waist. This is where everything's going to start coming untabbed. It does have waist swivel there, and with the thighs, can go back and forth. It can go out quite a bit. Actually, it can go more than just I think another notch more than the splits. Here we go. Can rotate here at the thigh. Can rotate here at the knee. Can bend at the knee. And try to peg that back in. And then he also has, the foot movement where this is on a joint, so it goes back and forth, and it's also on a ball joint as well. But not too bad, especially for no, it's not going to stand. For the price, I think I paid, was it $130 for diesel and all the things that he comes with. Awesome bot, and very cool. I love the way that they put everything together, and this is part of his trailer. Same thing with his feet, and everything is very cool. I love the way that it's put together, and I think it's really genius. How just the little things for weapons. He's got the little guns here at the knees. Very cool. But like I said, the main thing is if you want to mess with this guy on a constant basis or put him in different poses all the time, he's going to get loose, I think, pretty quick. A lot quicker than, like Make Toys, Green Giant or things like that. So that's the only thing I'd be aware of. But then again, you're paying, whatever, 50, 60 bucks for each one of these guys and then $130 for him. And I think now you can buy him as a 5-pack. So that's something to keep your eyes on if you're wanting to get this guy. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you have anything, comments or maybe something I missed, be sure to leave in the comments so everyone can find out what they, need to do to put this guy together and make him complete. So talk to you guys later. Have a good day.